Roasting the parents of roommates for their reproductive choices. Is it morally right? Let's talk about it on our first story today, guys. G'day there, guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now, if you love today's bloody good stories, sit back, relax, chuck a prawn of the Barbie, smack that like button, smack it right now, destroy that like button, and get ready for some bloody good content. Let's go. Am I the asshole for telling my roommate it's not my fault her parents don't know how to use contraception? My roommate has a ridiculous amount of siblings. She's the oldest one and has like 8 younger siblings. She has the largest family of anyone I've ever met. Since she has an insane amount of siblings, she grew up extremely poor since her parents couldn't afford to have as many kids as they did. She complains all the time about how she hated growing up in a big family and how much she resents all her younger siblings and how her parents are so irresponsible. She always used it as a way to get what she wants from me or push me around. She complains about how I received more scholarship money than her, despite her needing it more since her parents decided to have too many kids and can't afford to support any of them. She always wants to borrow my clothes since apparently her younger siblings always stole and borrowed her things growing up. She thinks she deserves more space in our suite for her things than I do since she didn't have enough space for anything growing up. She calls it reparations. I'm a paid tutor and charge a lot for my services. She expects me to tutor her for free all the time, since her parents had too many kids to support them educationally and never helped her with her homework growing up. I told her that her parents are to blame for her crappy childhood, not me. It's not my fault her parents couldn't control themselves and use contraceptives like everyone else. Am I the asshole for not going along with the things she wants? I feel like this is a case of not your circus, not your monkeys. I can't really tell if this is trauma that she's holding on to and she's expressing that trauma through putting restrictions on you so that she can have more liberties in the house and it's unequal, or whether she's just feeling entitled. I really don't know what the case is. That's why I want to tread carefully with this one. You are literally addressing the root cause of the problem, that her parents don't know how to use contraception. That is the reason that she is doing all these things because that's what she keeps blaming it on. That's fair enough. You're calling it for what it is. I can respect it. Though I don't see how it fixes the situation. I'm gonna go not the asshole, but yeah, this is a weird one. Now in the comments, Fenric says, not the asshole. It's not your job to make up for her crappy childhood. How in the hell do you owe her reparations? She sounds kind of awful, to be honest. I don't think the roommate knows what the word reparations means or how it works. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Inconceivable. Not the arsehole, and it's time for the free ride to end. Don't let her borrow your clothes, enforce a fairer distribution of space in the apartment, and stop the free tutoring. The idea that you have to pay reparations because her parents are a real-life Monty Python skit is ridiculous. It links to every sperm is sacred, which is perfect in this instance, but to me, I like the skit more where he's like, you were lucky to have a hole in the ground. We lived in a lake. You were lucky to have a lake. We used to live in a shoebox, 150 of us in the middle of the road. So what I'm trying to say is, Monty Python's hilarious. Not the asshole. Your comment is a bit rude, albeit hilarious. That said, it's not your responsibility to pick up the slack from her childhood and upbringing. You're a friend, not her adopted parent. And not even a friend necessarily, just a mere roommate. Either way, agreed OP is not the adopted parent and shouldn't be expected to act as such. Our next post is by user OKInterview1739. Titled, Am I the asshole for telling my friend's fiancé that she doesn't know what a bad day is? Backstory, I'm 29 male, and I've been in EMS for almost 7 years, but I've only been a paramedic on a department for about a year. Now onto the story. This happened a few shifts ago. We got a call at 0600 for a pediatric full arrest. When we got on scene, my heart dropped. The parents said that they put their 6-month-old to bed last night and then went to bed. When Dad was about to leave for work, he opened the door to see his baby before leaving and noticed that the baby wasn't breathing. I stood there for a minute thinking about how I was going to tell these new parents the bad news. The baby was cold to the touch, pale, and lividity had set in. Their baby died in the middle of the night. I tried to convey my sympathy to them and told them that it wasn't their fault, and tragedies like this happen. The parents were understandably inconsolable. The rest of the shift was silent. When I got home, I kept running that conversation with the parents in my head over and over again. I called up my friend and asked him if I could come over to talk. I went to his apartment and we talked for hours about it. I was just an emotional wreck because this was my first infant death. He tried to get me through this as best he could, but then his fiancée came home from work. She came in the front door and instantly started complaining that she had the worst day ever because a customer gave her attitude. When she walked into the living room and saw me, she said, "I had a bad day and I don't want people over, so you need to leave right now." When my friend said that something terrible happened to me at work, she looked at him and said, "All he does is sit around, watch TV and play Xbox. How terrible can it be?" My friend and I were stunned. She kept going on and on about how I basically do 10 minutes of work on my 24-hour shift, and she works so much harder than me. I was already in a bad place emotionally, and hearing her say all of those things just made my blood boil. I finally looked her in the eyes and said, "You don't know what a bad day even looks like. You were mildly annoyed for 5 minutes and that's it." I had to look 2 new parents in the eyes and tell them that their baby died last night while they were sleeping. Just the thought of knowing they called us to save their baby and I was powerless to do anything kills me inside. But I know that no matter how bad I feel, they are feeling much, much worse. Now tell me, do you still think you're having a bad day? And then I stormed out. My friend called me a few days later to check up on me. I was doing better by then and had more time to process everything. He went on to say that he had a long talk with his fiancée about what happened and said that what I told her really messed with her. She's been crying on and off since I left. I feel like I may be the asshole because I lashed out at her in rage and I could have handled that better. So am I the asshole? I definitely don't think you're the asshole in this situation. Whenever I see people heated like this or I'm feeling particularly heated myself, I always think the person I could be impacting right now could be having a day like OP's here. There could have been something absolutely terrible they're going through. I don't know what this person has been through today. And then from there, you control whether you continue these negative emotions or you kind of just bottle it up and don't affect people like that, at least so openly. Is that not a normal and genuine display of human empathy? I feel like that should be the standard. It's unfortunate that she's been crying on and off since she left, but in a way I think she needed to be humbled. She lashed out at OP, basically attacked him for his job, said that he's a lazy piece of crap that does nothing all day. It's fair that he retaliated with what he went through today, and her emotions that she's processing now are her own fault. She should have thought before she lashed out, maybe have a bit more empathy for this guy, but no. Not the asshole for what you've said, OP. Now in the comments, Snazzy Susie Q says, "Not the asshole. She wanted to compare bad days and got her ass handed to her. Perhaps she should have a little more compassion for good folks like you that deal with traumatic stuff day in, day out. I hope you're doing better, and bless you for all that you do. Fix this for you. Perhaps she should have a little more compassion for anybody else having a bad day." Exactly this. Bad is subjective and it's not a competition. Fiancé started the comparison and was justifiably corrected. Not the asshole. Yep, my thoughts exactly. She wanted to turn this into a pissing competition. This was a big life lesson for her. I hope she learned from it. Not the asshole. Pepper Bell says, "Not the asshole. It's the worst when it's kids. Your friend's fiancé needs to learn how to read the bloody room. The fact she was trying to one-up you and went as far as to insult your work is just gross. You expressed your feelings to her during an emotional and pretty traumatic time, and you did not personally attack or insult her. She's feeling guilty and embarrassed for her lack of empathy. I hope she's learned from this. Your buddy is a good guy, and on another note, maybe take advantage of some mental health resources if your company offers them. You don't have an easy job, and with a therapist, you can just word vomit your feelings and work through them properly." And our next post is by user FitFile3025, titled, Am I the asshole for not wanting to pay for my wedding? Throwaway. So it sounds bad, but hear me out. Me, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 26 female, just got engaged. I've always said that I didn't want a wedding and she knows that, but now she wants to have a wedding, which I am very much against. I don't like weddings at all. They're a waste of time, and they're a waste of money, in my humble opinion. But she insists on having one, and she says she's always planned this moment. I doubt that, because this is the first time I'm hearing of her plans. So I did some research to see how much a wedding would cost, and it costs around $60,000 to $80,000 in total for what she wants. Now, we can afford that. We both make like $100,000 a year, but I'm not comfortable throwing that much money on one day. That's a brand new car, or a down payment for a house money. Is a one-day party worth our future security? Therefore, I decided to compromise with her. Instead of a full fat wedding, we'd have an informal party with friends and family. That could be accomplished for a third of the cost. For example, a bouquet costs $50 to $80 at most. Wedding flowers are $150 to $200. But no, she's dead set on having a traditional wedding. This way she can have a party, and we don't need expensive white gowns that will only be worn once. So I'm at my wit's end, and I tell her that we can have a wedding if she can pay for it. This absolutely pissed her off. She called me a cheapskate, and I mean, fair enough, but I'd rather put that money towards our house or a retirement fund, or even a kick-ass vacation together. But she doesn't see it that way. I'm really starting to wonder if I'm with the right person. So am I the asshole? Edit. People are asking what our game plan was. Well, we always talked about going to the court thingy with a few witnesses and making it official, without the traditional wedding. This started up after her sister's wedding. Maybe she had a change of heart. And edit 2, some people are suggesting that we have a smaller wedding for like $10,000. We are Indian, so if there's gonna be a wedding, it's gonna have to be a big one unfortunately, with all the relatives and everything. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. Well, weddings are important to people. Even though I've never heard her mention that she wants one, it may be possible that she's wanted one deep down inside. Her sister just got married. Maybe seeing that, she might have started to want a wedding of her own. Now I might be the asshole because I denied her the ability to have a wedding that I didn't know she wanted. I feel like there's no way around this besides saying that everyone sucks here in this situation, because I understand that you only want to spend around $10,000 on a wedding, and that's reasonable. But then you go on to say that you want her to pay for it because it's going to be too expensive. That is a ridiculous request. Understandably, there is a massive amount of social peer pressure coming from Indian families, and they love huge weddings, as I've seen countless times on Am I the Asshole? And yeah, it might be tradition, but let's just put that phrase out there. Tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. But in this case, it's also from a lot of alive people as well, so I guess you got that going for you. But really, you guys are not coming to a nice middle ground on this one, and not making any compromises on your positions. You both suck for that. You need to sit down and find a nice middle ground where you guys can have the wedding that you're both okay with, that doesn't break the bank, and it doesn't upset your family or something like that. Now in the comments, Webby Vanderquack says, everyone sucks here. This is one of those things where it should actually be pretty easy to compromise. You don't need to spend anywhere near $50,000 to $80,000. But telling her we can have a wedding if she can pay for it is not a compromise. It's just an efficient way to destroy your marriage before it's even started. Stop dismissing something that's important to her as a one-day party, and start working out, realistically, how you can meet in the middle, and precisely what you can afford to spend. I mean, it sounds like he did offer that, with a party at a third of the cost instead, and she's insisting on the whole shebang. OP, we had a wedding for around 20,000 AUD, less than 15,000 US dollars, for about 120 people. It was very relaxed, we didn't have a bridal party, but we did the full ceremony and then cocktails, and a canapé-style lunch plus grazing table, dessert buffet, and a gelato cart. Plenty of food, good music, and all the people we loved. And edited to add, and booze. I wasn't drinking at the time, so I forgot, but we had heaps of wine, beer, spirits, and 2 signature cocktails. So a fun wedding on a budget is totally doable. No arseholes here. You were both entitled to once on a wedding. However, if you two can't figure this out and find a way that makes both of you happy, you two should not get married. The idea of you handle it alone is not how a strong marriages last. Everyone sucks here. You are both at 2 extremes here. If you two can't sit down and compromise on a reasonable budget for a wedding, then maybe you shouldn't get married. I'm not saying that you have to have a wedding for a good marriage, but you do have to be willing to compromise. And our next post is by user ThrowRA Curious Gal, titled, "Am I the asshole for refusing to cut my hair for my father's wedding?" So Dad and his fiancée Alice, Dad is 42, Alice is 28, are getting married in November this year. I, 15 female, didn't really like Alice because I think she replaced my mum too soon. My mum died of cancer 2 years ago, and she and Dad started dating 8 months after. I try to be polite as I can whenever she's around or starts a conversation with me. Dad never forced me to have a relationship with her, and I can see that she's not interested in having one. After they got engaged, Alice approached me and said that we needed to talk. She said she has a clear vision of how she wants her wedding to be, and that I have to comply so that everything will be perfect. I said sure, and asked her what I needed to do. She said first, I want you to cut your hair short. Second, you can't wear heels, and lastly, only wear light makeup and no fake lashes. Okay? I let her finish before I responded. I said I can do the second and third, but I will not be cutting my hair. My mum loved my hair, and helped me grow it thick and healthy. I got my blonde wavy hair from my mum, so I will keep it long. Alice accused me of wanting to upstage her. I said that's not what I was trying to do, and I think it's unfair since I know she didn't impose these standards on her other female guests. She then called me a selfish brat and told me that she'll tell my dad about how I disrespected her. My dad then got involved and told me to just cut my hair because it'll grow back anyway. I said her request is ridiculous and I'd rather not attend their wedding than cut my hair. I think I may have put my dad in a tight situation, and I'm now considering cutting my hair because I know my presence in the wedding will make my dad happy. But growing my hair back to lower back length will take a long time. Am I the asshole if I refuse to cut my hair? Edit. I'm 5'7", while Alice is 5'6", so I kind of understand why she wants me to wear flats. I offered to tie my hair or put it in a bun, but she said that won't do. I'm also not a part of the entourage. And yes, I look a lot like my mom. I got my hair, eyes, and my smile from her. Look, I was gonna go no arseholes here for the start of that story because, it's reasonable. I think 8 months is enough time if he's processed the grief to move on to a new partner, albeit the 14-year age difference is kind of odd, but I can respect it. But she took it way too far, and your dad is just letting it happen. He's just cool with it, and he's enabling this. There is no universe in which you should or should be expected to cut your hair. That is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know where she gets off on putting that demand on you. What the hell is she thinking? Gotta wonder what else she'll try to get away with if she ever got this far and you did cut your hair. What's next? Chop off your feet. I don't like the 1-inch height advantage you have on me. It's not fair. Not the arsehole OP. Now in the comments, ThrowJob42 says, not the arsehole. Your dad is only telling you to acquiesce to cut your hair because Alice already successfully cut off his balls. This comment is the epitome of what's become of your father, OP. Absolutely not the arsehole. Tell Alice and your father to go pound sand. Why? Why in the world would she think that asking you to cut your beautiful, long, healthy hair is an acceptable thing to ask? Upstage her? I fudging hate it when bridezillas say this crap. Kindly tell her from me and Reddit and everyone else on this planet, cry me a river, build a bridge, and get over it. Please do not cut your hair to cater to her craziness. Also be careful and keep your eyes open, because I wouldn't be surprised if she's resorted to trying to cut your hair herself, or switching up your hair products for something that'll damage it or cause it to fall out. I'd keep my hair products under a lock just in case. Claypole Jr. says, "Oh no, not the asshole. Do not cut your hair. Punishment haircuts are real, and it sounds like you're the asshole stepmother just wants to hurt you and humiliate you. Your dad is a real asshole too for supporting this ridiculous demand from a woman who is twice your age, who hilariously thinks you are trying to upstage her. Someone here is a selfish brat, but it certainly isn't you." Edit, I just wanted to add that you are clearly the mature one here, and I'm deeply sorry for your loss. And it's good that you're still in contact with your grandparents on a weekly basis, but this isn't a battle that you should be fighting because you're 15. Confide in those adults you trust and have them come after your idiot father and brat of a stepmother. Explain to them what you've written here. Punishment haircuts are also considered a form of abuse, power, and control tactics. This is a massive red flag. OP's dad is the asshole for not protecting them in this, and not being concerned about fiancé's attempt to control and abuse their daughter. I am so sad and worried for OP here. If she is doing this before the wedding, what kind of awful crap is she going to do once they are married? Not the asshole, your body, your choice. If Alice is worried about being upstaged by a 15-year-old girl, she's got bigger issues than hairstyle. Of course Alice has issues. She's 28 marrying a man who's 14 years older than her. Alice is actually closer in age to OP than to her future husband. And now back to the post, OP says, Edit 3, "Thank you so much for all of your kind words. My mum's parents live in Ireland. Dad's parents live in Colorado. We're in Florida. But I do talk to them 2 to 3 times a week. I will follow all of your advice and be on guard for my hair. Again, thank you all. I appreciate your condolences and kind words. And Edit 4, I am overwhelmed by the love and support that you guys have given. Thank you for the validation. I will not cut my hair. If it means not going to the wedding, then I'll just stay with my mom's sister in Georgia on that day. To everyone who expressed their concerns about inheritance and will, I don't really mind if Dad gave everything to his future family. He and my mum, Surgeon, have separate bank accounts and Mum left everything to me. Yes, I have an Irish passport, but I will not be studying there as I plan to get into Johns Hopkins University and be a surgeon like my mum." Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.